Hello, I am Elizabeth of Lore, and I am reporting today from my portal for healing, restoration, and channeling. And in this video, I am going to discuss the phenomenon of twin flames, and I'm going to share some information that I have channeled on my own twin flame journey, but that I haven't really seen very much spoken or written about in the twin flame community at large. I've seen little bits of this here and there, but not a whole lot. So if you feel you are a twin flame or think you might be a twin flame, or you're interested in the topic of twin flames, then I suggest that you watch this video all the way through so that you can get some new information. And some of this may resonate with your own intuitions or channelings and be confirmation that you haven't been able to find in other places. And the first thing that I want to say is a little bit of a disclaimer, which is that while the twin flame reality is one that is challenging but ultimately very beautiful, the spiritual twin flame community has become so saturated with romanticized and bastardized notions of what a twin flame is that it has become toxic. I actually, even for a while, had a really big aversion to even the term twin flame because of this. There is a lot of information out there that encourages people to stay in connections that are toxic, narcissistic, abusive, that condones stalking behaviors, and that gives people misinformation that may lead them to believe that someone is their twin flame or that someone is someone that they're meant to be with, whether or not that's actually true. So this video is intended to dispel some of that and to talk about the weird esoteric truth of twin flames. And I'm going to come here right off the bat and talk about something that is discussed a lot, which is, does everyone have a twin flame? So the simple 3D answer in this realm is no. Not everyone has a twin flame incarnated in this lifetime on this planet. And I'll explain a little bit more about why in a moment. The more complex answer to that question is yes. In the higher realms, in the spiritual sense, everyone spiritually does evolve and develop into a twin flame. And because time is ultimately an illusion, the linear experience that we're having now is part of the makeup of this dimension. But because time is ultimately an illusion, that means that anything that will happen is happening now. So yes, everyone is a twin flame in that sense. However, in the context of individuation and of linear time that we experience in this dimension, not everyone is in this lifetime, in this incarnation, a twin flame or has a twin flame incarnated here. Some people believe otherwise, but this is what I have come to understand. And here's why. So, what is a twin flame? One popular conception of it that is correct is that twin flames share the same soul. They share the same energy signature, the same core frequency. So they are two different beings incarnate in the incarnation sense who have the same energy signature, the same core frequency, the same soul. Those are all terms that are somewhat interchangeable. So that is true. But it is also a lot more than that. So this type of soul that has this ability to be split apart in this particular incarnated way is a frequency, an energy signature soul that has existed for a very long time. It's a very ancient soul. So twin flames are very, very, very ancient souls. and they're not from Earth. You can call them aliens, you can call them interdimensional beings, you can call them angels. There are many different things you can call them, but they are very, very ancient souls who actually not only don't come from this planet, but come from a different time age. And what I mean by that is they come from a different creative period. So this is a soul that went through the karmic cycles of birth and death and rebirth, reincarnation, over and over and over and over and over again, those evolutionary cycles in a different creative period, and have then chosen to incarnate as two separate beings in this time age. So when a spirit goes through a very long evolutionary process of death and rebirth, they learn many lessons and they raise their alignment with oneness to the point that they will eventually stop having the polarities that we experience in this dimension. A lot of times this is conceived of as masculine and feminine polarities. There can be some misconceptions about that as well, that associate those two strongly with like physical gender, because it's not. We all contain masculine and feminine polarities, regardless of our physical gender or gender presentation. And a twin flame soul is one that has brought these together and essentially embodies fully those polarities in one being. So sometimes people will see these as angelic beings. Sometimes people have had visions of these types of beings as angelic beings that have both male and female genitalia, for example. But again, that's also an incarnated sort of avatar, because this is an energy, this is a spirit. So when a spirit goes through this full cycle in the time age of this spiritual evolutionary process, they then become a being that is part of the creative force of another time age. And that creative force is pure love. So incarnated twin flames are an embodiment of this pure, aligned, creative force of love. And typically, they will choose to incarnate in this manner in separate forms, separate avatars, during periods of great change. So during periods where there's a great ascension process going on, which we're in right now. And that is why there are a lot of people resonating with the idea of twin flames right now, why there are a lot of twin flames incarnated right now. Because twin flames are beings that have chosen to come here as part of a mission to help raise this dimension into the higher realms and to raise it into a frequency of love. Now, twin flames are not the only type of beings that are doing this. So there are certainly other interdimensional, extraterrestrial beings, ancient beings, who are also incarnated here with a mission, who may not be resonating with the idea of a twin flame. And they're also serving a very, very important role and on a mission here as well. So this is certainly not to say that this is the only type of being doing this, but this is, the twin flames are what I'm talking about in this video. So I know this is a little strange and not the information that's normally given out. But yes, twin flames are, as I like to put it, aliens. As I like that term. Some people don't, and you can call it something else. You can call them angelic beings. You can call them enlightened beings. You can call them interdimensional beings. Now, I will say, in terms of that phrase, enlightened being, this again doesn't mean that the ego avatar is enlightened or doesn't have issues. In fact, incarnating in this dense realm naturally comes with trauma, and twin flames tend to agree to take on a lot of that as a part of the healing process. And as part of bringing a healing vibration very strongly into this realm, they are required to be in the ego sense in an unhealed state so that they can return to their spirit and have their physical being saturated with that healing vibration in order to help share it with the realm. So that is why, although the spirit has gone through this ascension process already, the incarnated being has to go through it again. Now, this also doesn't mean that they don't accumulate a form of karma while incarnated, because that is another aspect of this dimension and of incarnation. However, it's a little bit different than going through the somewhat more involuntary process of repeated karmic cycles, because twin flames are actually not incarnating every time they die. They are choosing to incarnate at specific moments. This is why a lot of twin flames, when they experience memories of other lifetimes within this time age, they experience them as beings that were very powerful and played a really big role. Of course, when people remember other lifetimes, they do tend to remember the more exciting ones, because it is similar to any sort of memory. The thing that's more exciting, that where there's more stuff that happens, it's more important, that stands out in your memory. However, twin flames in this time age actually aren't incarnating typically in more mundane lifetimes, because they are coming here with a specific mission and a specific purpose and a specific role. But they did go through that whole process already in a different creative period. So, if you are a twin flame, you are a very ancient being who has incarnated here on purpose, who has incarnated here with a mission, who has incarnated here knowing that any karma you accrue in this dimension, you're also going to clear in this lifetime. Twin flames also have the ability to clear the karma of other beings around them. Now, this doesn't mean that they're going to clear everyone's karma that they come into contact with entirely, but they do sort of eat some karma of other beings and transmute it. So they are able to relieve some of the karmic cycle for beings that are in contact with them and that serve sort of a special role to them. So that's kind of a boon that twin flames, like an added boon that twin flames give to those who are important to them and their role in this dimension. Now, when I say that they are part of the creative process, I mean that their spirit did help to generate and create this time age. And what that means for a twin flame is that they are very acutely a part of the love that creates this reality. So that means that you as a twin flame do not actually need to be in a relationship physically in the 3D with your counterpart. You do not actually need to be in contact with your counterpart to experience this love, because that love is you, and that is you, and that is your twin flame, is everywhere, in everything. So you have access to it at any moment in time. I had this really beautiful experience recently. I watched a video from a YouTuber named Morg. Morg Official is the account, who was talking about a DMT experience where they encountered their twin flame. And as they were speaking and sharing what it felt like to experience that love, even when they returned to this dimension and were not with their twin flame physically, they were saying how they saw it in everything and in every partner they had. And they were listing all these different elements as examples that they were experiencing this love in. And as they were speaking in my head, I thought, in the song of the birds, in the wind. And then right after I thought that, in the video, Morg said, in the song of the birds, in the wind. It was just an echo of what I already knew, and a confirmation of what I've experienced and what is true. So I wanted to share that as well, because I know that an element of the twin flame journey is reconciling the ego with the strangeness of being this type of creature. And that often manifests in one or sometimes both at different times of a twin flame pairing, being really obsessed with wanting to be in a 3D physical relationship with the other. And typically when that obsession is going on, one of them is experiencing it and the other is pushing them away and saying, no, no, no. And that can be very painful because it feels like unrequited love to the mind and to the ego. What that really is the ego reconciling this, because it's not something that we're typically taught in the ego sense as an experience, right? So it can be very difficult to recognize that you have the same soul as another being and to have your mind understand this and to understand the depth and intensity of this love, and you want to translate it into this way that we've been taught is how you love intensely, which is to, for many of us, which is to have this physical romantic relationship and to feel destined to that person and to feel almost like it needs to be forced. So if you're in that what is called the chaser energy, then this part of the message is for you. You don't have to chase your counterpart because you already have that love within you and it's available to you in any moment. It's available to you in any being, whether you choose to be in a romantic relationship with someone else or whether you choose to experience it with friends or beautiful conversations with strangers or the song of the birds or the wind or just a moment of introspective meditation or anything. It's always available because that is the creative force of the universe, and you are an ancient being who is an active contributing element to that creative force of the universe. So this is what I wanted to share. This strange truth about twin flames that I don't see discussed enough. If you resonated with this, please like the video. Please, that will help hook it into the algorithm and spread it to more people. I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you resonated or not. You can leave a comment, and I'd love to hear what you think about this as well. Share the channel with others. It's a pretty new channel, so I'm still trying to grow it, and I would love to get this message out. It would help me out, and it would help anyone else out who hasn't heard this enough in the external world and may also be needing this message or this confirmation. All right, that's it for now. Thank you for tuning in.